Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. About 7:40 a.m. here. Prices of BTC currently at 78.75. All right, so it looks like we had a drop off overnight out of this range right here that I've been watching, okay? So we were watching this range. Let me pull up the 30-minute chart. Okay, so the range was between this low right here, so around 8,030, and this high right here, around 8,200, let's just say. Okay, and you could see, price came back, took out some of these lows right here, and then pushed back up for a bit of a short squeeze up here, right? So the range was established, and I was actually long from this point, and I was hoping that price could sort of break out of this range and go head up towards 8,400, 8,500. But I was wrong. But I kept my stop still, and I actually didn't take profit here because I actually wasn't available to do so, because my take profit was actually higher. So I would have had to manually sell the order anyway. And notice that this movement right here happened in less than, I think, 3 minutes or something. Let's see. Let's see exactly where it happened. Um, right over here. Okay, so this is where that movement happened. So we bust out of this resistance around 81.50, right? So these are minute candles. So 1, 2, 3, and then the sell off right here happened in less than 15 minutes, and boom, broke down. So unless you were available, in that 15-minute time span, it would have been really hard to sell here anyway, okay, or even short here. So unfortunately, I was caught in my position with my stop at 8,050. Wasn't really that bad of a loss, honestly, because I got in around like 8,090, and my stop was 8,050. So let's just say from 8,090 to 8,050 right there, right? That's about 0.5 percent movement down, and with 10x leverage, that's a 5% loss, right? So the point is that, when I take a stab at longs like this or even shorts and I get stopped out, it's actually, to me, better to get stopped out, okay, rather than sort of hope for the position to go one way or another. I kind of just wait for my technicals to play themselves out, okay? If I decided that there was a stop at a particular point for a reason, all right, I'm going to stick to that stop and try to figure out what the market's trying to do. Because, in this case, right, there was really no reason for me to consider shorting here, okay, as per my technicals. My technicals were showing that, okay, we're bouncing, right on top of this order block right here on the 4-hour time frame, okay. On the 30-minute time frame, right, we were already creating this kind of higher low structure, right? You could see the low was put in right there. This was a higher low, and I was thinking that, what, at the very most, we'll maybe come back to the trend line and push back up. And if we don't push back up with a higher high up here, right, and rather we kind of just push back up to 81.25, 81.50 again, which was this resistance, as you can see right there, right, I would have just closed out my position right there. But unfortunately, I again didn't get that opportunity, and instead I got stopped out. And so the reason I'm trying to tell you this is because identifying the higher risk reward trades, okay, in a market like this will ultimately help you down the line. Just because, things have been overly bearish doesn't mean on the smaller time frame that things can't, things don't show signs of turning around, right? Because a 30-minute chart was already showing me higher lows and higher lows. So I figured, okay, if I jump in, at the very most I could get another push towards 8,200, or if I get pushed out of my trade, it's a small loss anyway. But if I shorted, right, if I shorted anywhere here, my stop would have to be up here, and my risk to reward would be much worse, because if my short was, let's just say, at the same area where I got in, right, 8,090 right there, okay, my stop would be above the wick right there, and my target would have to be at the bottom of the range anyway. Okay, so you could see right there, the risk to reward is 0.4. That's terrible. Okay, that's a horrible trade to take. But the long position on the other side, okay, using this tool, right? Where is it? Right there. So I was targeting the range highs right there, and my stop was 8,050, right? So we were right about there, right? Notice that was my risk to reward right there, 3.41. And though I wasn't available for this, my target was actually hit perfectly, and some people in my community did take profit on that because they were lucky to do so, because I'd already stated that that would be a potential target for us, okay? So the point is that, when you start looking at markets, whether it's bullish or bearish, right? Don't become bullish or bearish just because the rest of the world is bullish or bearish. Start looking at the technicals around and try to figure out, what is price trying to do, okay? Where exactly are we in context of other support or other resistance levels? So for now, for me, okay, the fact that we've sort of broken under this order block, right? Unless we sort of push back above it and hold right here, this is still bearish to me, right? Because this is a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. All this stuff is lower highs. And by the way, I've been bearish since here anyway. I've had a fair share of my short positions, and I haven't really taken longs unless I'm aiming for these short squeezes anyway. So I have not been a bull by any means, all right? So for me, I again go back to the situation. Are we potentially creating a bottom yet? Well, this should have held right here if we are going to put in a bottom, but it didn't, right? So now we reassess. Okay, so price is now here under this order block before this thing sold off and then blasted through. So I think this area is critical. So unless somehow we push above this area right here, this purple box right here, come back to retest it as support, right? I would not be bullish at all, okay? So buying here for longs is just not worth it for me, okay? Another way to look at it is kind of like this, okay? So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit more. I'm going to show you guys a different time frame, okay? So here's a 6 hour, all right? We're going to create a bigger parallel channel, all right? So I think let's just create it from there. Or actually, sorry about that. I think it should be from up here. Okay. So that's the parallel channel right there. And right there. Okay. So the reason I wanted to draw the parallel channel like this, all right. Let me see if I can draw maybe the 12 hour with that. Okay, let me pull this back. Delete this, and let's move this to the 12 hour. Okay, because I think it's going to be a bit more clear for you guys to see. And watch this carefully, okay? So watch what I'm going to do. All right, so I'm going to stretch out the parallel channel from over here. Okay. And we're going to pull it just to the bottom of this range right there. Okay, just where this wicks. Okay. We can even pull it a little bit higher to contain more of those wicks right there. All right. So this was truly the range right here that was established, and price came back into that range right around September and October. We broke above it for maybe a couple of days and then broke back below it, right? So if we're establishing this range, you're trying to figure out, okay, so what is this right here? Okay, so I stated to you guys before that I believe that this was all distribution right here. All right, now let me show you guys exactly why. Okay, why that's valid. Okay, notice that this is Bitcoin CME Futures, by the way. Okay, this is the CME Futures chart, and I want you to take a careful look at that volume right here. Okay, this candle right here, very, very high volume, right? And then very aggressively high sell volume right here, right? So what does that tell us? Remember, this was right here. This is really that range that we're looking at anyway. All right, so let me see if I can map that out for you guys, okay? So this was that range that we were looking at, right? All right, So the reason why you have highest volume in this area right here is because a lot of people sold into this area. The highest volume was created in this candle right here, and subsequent to that was this right here in terms of the CME futures, okay? That had the highest volume traded, meaning that a lot of positions were closed out right here, and less people were interested in having buy or long positions right here. More than likely, they were probably shorting here, or there just wasn't really a whole lot of interest right here. Okay, so I bet that this FOMO right here was created, as you can see, on less volume compared to this right here, right? So what that tells us is when you have a higher movement on less volume, that's like a divergence. You know how we look at the RSI divergence, right? This is the same thing. You have a higher price on lesser volume overall. Okay, so what that tells us is this event right here was driven way more by retailers, right? And maybe some commercial hedge funds. And then this was all distribution, and then price came back into that same range where this high volume stuff happened. So then you're wondering, okay, what does that mean for us now? So notice again, when we had a bounce right here, notice that this was the bottom of the range, right? Let me go back to this chart right here. This was the bottom of the range, okay? This area and this area. And when the bears tried to pressure price outside of that range, they got a very violent reaction out of it. Okay? So what that tells me is there are way more professionals in this area holding down this block right here, and they did not want prices to dip just yet. Okay? So they pushed this price up really drastically, whether those are miners or institutions or other professionals, right? And so now what we can say is, all right, we can say, okay, if this was the range established, price should be coming back down to the bottom of the range again. And so that is around, let's see where that is. So that's around, $7,500, that black marker right there, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if price comes back down to that range and then bounces off again. And it may bounce off to the top of the range, which would be $9,100 or so, okay? And remember, what's around $9,100, right? It is the November monthly open. It's around $9,150, so pretty close, close enough, right? So that's kind of, my thought process is that I don't know if the bleeding is going to stop anytime soon until we hit the bottom of the range right here, around $7,500, and then push back up, okay, around 9,100. Because this thing could chop around, from bottom, top, pull back down again like this, and then ultimately break down, okay? I mean, I personally think that what might happen is go like this, go up here, come back down again, and then break through, okay? I don't know if this thing is going to just slice through right away, but again, we'll wait and see, okay? So if we're looking at price structure right now, there's really no long ideas potentially unless price hits the bottom of this range right here and bounces up. Sorry, kind of like this, bounces up from 7,500, or we get, a potential movement, all right, back above this purple block around, we get to 8,250 or so, bounce off this area again, use $8,000 flat as support, and then we're ready to push off. That would be another potential long idea. This is really not an area that you want to long. In terms of shorting, I mean, I don't know. I think it's definitely possible to short, but what might happen is, now we have to figure out what's the next range that's in play. Remember, price always moves in ranges, right? So the next range that's probably in play is something like this, okay? So we've got something like this right here established. This is the low. So I wouldn't be surprised if price sort of, moves back up to the high of this area. So this is about 79.50. and then comes back down to about 78.25 or so. That might be the range. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it pushes up higher, but for now, this looks like the range, right? So if this is the range, okay, your stop for your short, if you're shorting here, will have to be above this wick. So like right there. And you don't want to be too close because you might have price kind of push up, wick you out of your position, short squeeze, and then dump back down. Okay, so those are the possibilities. Long possibilities, really not there. I mean, it'd be very tight. You'd long here, stop under here, and then target right there. Okay, so really not that big of a risk to reward ratio for that trade. All right. Daily chart, I've mentioned this before. Notice that I stated, this was the first potential, trend line that was created from this touch. Third touch right here was in October, and then fourth touch, we're again now coming back to it. So if this doesn't hold, I wouldn't be surprised if price just kind of breaks through to 7,500, right? And then pulls back around and kind of heads up to the same area for this trend line and uses it as resistance, or blasts through it, goes to that November monthly open around 91.50, and then comes back down. So a lot of possibilities, all of which for now are telling us to wait and see. The shorting opportunities are probably a bit better. I mean, if you're trying to swing short, your stop could be up here around 8,700, and your target could be that $7,500 area right there. Okay, that's probably the only swing short opportunity I see, because you're probably not going to get like a $500 movement like that and then dump, So your stop, if it's that high, you'd probably be safe. Okay. Another thing to mention is this 200 moving average, right? I stated this in our video yesterday. Notice around the end of October, we bounced off this this 200 moving average on the CME Futures chart, and we pushed up almost $3,000, right? But then we came back to the 200 moving average again. So we may be bouncing off this, today or tomorrow potentially. Okay, so that's something that you want to maybe keep an eye on. Like I said, if we sort of get above this block, if this is really a potential spring, right, we gotta at least see some strength getting above this block, this purple block again. Give me a push up to 81.50, a touch back to 8,000, and then we might be ready for a long. Until then, it's really hard to say that longing is wise at all. Okay, but the CME Futures 200 moving average is telling you like it's bounced here, might bounce here too, and the daily chart has already told you that this is a critical macro trend line. Okay, so if there's anyone watching this in terms of professionals or algorithms, I mean, this is the area to bounce, right? So there you have it, folks. I hope that answers your questions, gives you guys a game plan of how we're gonna go about the next coming day or two, or coming week actually, right? It is Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday typically have low volume. That's where you see sort of the short squeezes, the spikes. So who knows? We might get a nice sort of spike out of here, maybe to 82.50, 8,500 or higher, right? So we'll see. Okay. I hope that helped. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about. Let me see the Bitcoin dominance. I like watching this chart specifically because we did bounce off this level last time, right around that October low that we had around $7,400, and we pushed up $3,000. So this is a good area for BTC to potentially bounce out of. And notice that we're actually already starting to make that rounded move around anyway. But the price is actually not moving up. And the funny thing is, I think the alts are actually losing dominance, and Bitcoin is gaining dominance because of the alts. So it's not impacting price just yet. Okay, so it is a possibility that we could see a movement in price sooner or later. But patience is the key. Manage your risk properly, understand the structure of the market, and you will be fine. All right. And again, folks, if you haven't joined the Discord community, you have a YouTube link below this video. You will also have a 15% discount for joining the Advantage membership in the YouTube description below. Watch our video with an equities trader yesterday if you want to learn more about the stock market, how that's going. And we do live Zoom sessions. I do twice a day Bitcoin analysis. I put up trade setups in our Discord community. So you guys have seen the whole spiel before. You know we make some good gains. We're a community that's balanced. We don't shill. We're confident in our trades, and if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. We don't FOMO back into trades. We don't FOMO into any garbage coins. We trade the market as is, not what our emotions tell us. Okay, so come join a good community where you can bounce off good ideas, learn, share your knowledge, or learn from others who have more experience than you. All right, I've been trading these markets for about 11 years. I started off in the stock market. I started off trading alternative energy stocks. I then moved on to the tech space. Then I moved on to commodities like oil and gold. Then I moved on to Forex. And then only in 2016 did I discover crypto. So my background comes from a lot of different assets, and I approach crypto with the same balanced approach in terms of technicals and fundamental reasoning, right? So I'm not someone who just started trading yesterday, okay? If you really want to come learn and you want to learn about the balanced approach that I have, and if you keep constantly losing money or FOMOing into trades in this market, this is the community for you, okay, folks? There's no reason why you shouldn't be making consistent gains in this market. If you're constantly losing money and you don't know exactly why that's happening, come join us. Come trade with us. Come at least give us a shot for a month, okay? And let me know if you've learned a thing or two, because chances are you definitely will, okay? All right, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, watch those positions, longs or shorts. We're still aiming for that 7,500 area as a potential bottom for the bottom of this range right here that we talked about, right? And then potentially bounce back up to the top of the range, which is around $9,100 in my opinion. If we do slice straight through, good luck, bulls, because we're definitely heading down to 6,000 or 5,000 then, and that's going to be really, really fast. Okay, I just don't know if we're ready for that just yet, but we shall see. All right, folks. Thank you so much again. Always, you guys are always supportive and kind, and you guys leave me great comments. So keep doing so and keep helping me deliver good content to you. Come join the Cryptosomniac community. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. Leave me a comment, if you appreciate these videos. Leave me a comment if there's anything else that's different you want in my videos. And then come join the free side as well in the Discord link below. All right. Cheers and good luck trading. All right.